Good evening and welcome to Tuần-san News of the Week. My name is Emma Doe. And what's making headlines this week? A Vietnamese student activist jailed for 6 years. A couple killed after a Vietnam War-era shell explodes. And a Buddhist monastery in Melbourne holds a fundraising concert. In this week's top story, the European Union says it has given a yellow card to Vietnam, warning the Pacific country it could ban seafood exports unless Hanoi does more to tackle illegal fishing. The European Commission said Vietnam should fix the problem within a reasonable time frame, but did not set a deadline. It added that Vietnam lacked an effective system to punish illegal or unreported fishing and did too little to stop Vietnamese vessels in the waters of neighbouring small island countries. Vietnam ranks among the top 10 world producers of seafood products. That's according to the FAO, the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. The EU can go as far as handing a red card to a third country that fails to curb illegal fishing and eventually impose a trade ban on fishery products. A Vietnamese student activist has been jailed for 6 years plus 4 years of probation by a local court for conducting propaganda against the state. 24-year-old Phan Kim Khanh is a student studying international relations and the eldest child of a Catholic farming family in a remote area north of the capital, Hanoi. Khanh had written blogs criticising the government before he was arrested earlier this year. His lawyer Ha Huy-sun told Reuters that he was not certain if Khanh wants to appeal. Meanwhile, Human Rights Watch on Tuesday called on Vietnam to drop all charges and release Khanh. Despite sweeping reforms to its economy and growing openness to social change, including towards gay, lesbian and transgender rights, Vietnam's sole Communist Party retains tight media censorship and does not tolerate criticism. United States President Donald Trump has awarded the Medal of Honor to an Army medic for saving dozens of soldiers' lives during the Vietnam War. Retired Army Captain Gary M. Rose was given the military's highest honour nearly 50 years after his heroism. Rose was honoured for his bravery during a secret mission titled Operation Tailwind that was classified for decades. According to a statement by the White House, the then Sergeant Rose repeatedly ran into the line of enemy fire to provide critical medical aid to his comrades, using his own body on one occasion to shield a wounded American from harm. Rose has been credited to treating at least 60 wounded personnel and saving many lives. The delay in earning the nation's highest award for valour was because the original mission was secret. A couple has been killed and their 2 children injured after a Vietnam War-era shell exploded earlier this week. The accident occurred in a rural village in the Central Highlands province of Kon Tum. Local media reports that the 46-year-old father was immediately killed after trying to open the US shell left over from the Vietnam War. His wife died on the way to hospital, while his children, aged 9 and 15, are receiving treatment for their injuries. Old bombs are prized for both the scrap metal and their explosives, which are repurposed for clearing land for farming and illegal dynamite fishing. According to the United Nations, 104,000 Vietnamese have been killed by bombs, landmines and artillery shells since the end of the Vietnam War in 1975. Hanoi is planning to install an additional 70 air monitoring stations to help battle air pollution. The capital city has already installed and operated 10 air monitoring stations with French funds. However, the stations do not entirely reflect the real air quality in the city, Vietnam news agency reported. Slow implementation of investment projects for environmental protection, together with low public awareness of environmental protection and underdeveloped production technology, have affected the environment's qualities, according to Hanoi's authorities. Rapid urbanisation, massive construction across the city, and the increasing number of vehicles have also contributed. Monitoring results show that many areas in Hanoi have a high level of air pollution, such as Ha Dong, Hoàng Mai, Cầu Giấy and the Liêm districts. The 2 women accused of murdering Kim Jongnam have revisited the scene of the crime as part of their ongoing trial. Vietnamese woman Doan Thị Hương and Indonesian national Siti Aisyah were seen handcuffed and wearing bulletproof vests. They were accompanied by the trial judge, over 200 police officers and a dozen journalists as they retraced the event. Both women broke down in tears during the visit and were provided wheelchairs from the exhaustion of wearing bulletproof vests. The women are charged with murdering the North Korean leader's half-brother by smearing his face with a deadly chemical nerve agent. Defence lawyers maintain that the women believed they were participating in a reality TV show prank and did not know they were handling a chemical nerve agent. 4 Vietnamese in the southern city of Cần Thơ have been arrested on suspicion of robbing foreigners. The 4 suspects include a 35-year-old woman and 3 men in their late 20s. It's alleged that the group arranged to rob 2 Chinese men in their 40s, one of which had asked the female suspect to arrange a marriage for his travel mate. The group then stole a total of $1,400 from the foreigners before they were caught by police. Vietnam might run out of valuable natural sand within 5 years unless an artificial product is successfully created. Sand is a critical part of making concrete, with 100 million cubic metres of the resource used across construction projects in Vietnam every year. But scientists from the country's Institute of Transport Science and Technology warn that supplies could be depleted within 5 years. Scientists suggest making artificial sand from ground rocks, which is already used in other parts of the world. The price of natural sand in Vietnam has skyrocketed in the past 6 months, following a crackdown on the illegal sand dredging industry. It's led to a critical shortage in the material, with a number of construction projects struggling to find supplies. In response, the government has now ordered the Ministry of Construction to stop exporting Vietnamese sand to foreign countries. Back to news in Australia. A Vietnamese food stall in Canberra temporarily closed last week after a diner found maggots in her meal. The woman filmed food from What the Pho displaying a number of maggots crawling on it. The ACT Health Department quickly served up a notice of warning to the business and inspected it over a 2-day period of closure. The owner of the food park in which What the Pho operates told the ABC that the business had never experienced health issues in its 3 years of operation. What the Pho's owner, Vinh Nguyen, apologised to customers through his business's Facebook page. A fundraiser at a Faulkner monastery over the weekend has drawn in performances from 2 US singers. The concert was held to raise money for renovations at Quang Duc Monastery, which is aiming to have a new toilet, kitchen and car park built. The 2-hour concert saw US-based singers Dan Nguyen and Mai Thiên Văn take to the stage, along with Melbourne singers Tuần-san and Thái Thanh. Venerable Thượng Tọa Tâm Phương said the construction of the toilet and kitchen would be completed in the coming weeks and the car park by 2020. That's all from TV Tuần-san News of the Week. For more stories, you can follow TV Tuần-san at tvtsonline.com.au and Facebook at TV Tuần-san. I'm Emma Doe. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to your company at the same time next week.